October 26, 2025. 140 nautical miles southeast of Hainan Island in the South China Sea, the impossible was happening aboard the USS Nimitz. At 13:47 hours, an FA-18E Super Hornet worth $70 million crashed into the ocean. 30 minutes later, at 14:17 hours, an MH-60S Seahawk helicopter went down in almost the exact same location. 2 aircraft, 30 minutes, same carrier, same waters. The U.S. Navy launched an investigation, but what they discovered would send shockwaves through the Pentagon. Was this catastrophic mechanical failure, contaminated fuel, or something far more sinister? Intelligence analysts believe China deployed a revolutionary electronic warfare weapon that can disable American aircraft mid-flight without firing a single shot. How did 2 state-of-the-art military aircraft fall from the sky in 30 minutes? Join me in discovering the truth behind the incident that terrified the Pentagon. October 26, 2025, 0600 hours. The USS Nimitz was conducting freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea. The 1,092-foot nuclear-powered supercarrier carried 90 aircraft worth over $6 billion and a crew of 5,500 sailors. The timing was no coincidence. President Trump was conducting a diplomatic tour across Asia, and the carrier's presence sent an unmistakable message. America would not be intimidated by Chinese territorial claims. Unknown to the Nimitz's crew, they were operating just 85 nautical miles from China's most advanced electronic warfare facility on Hainan Island, a $4 billion installation specifically designed to counter American naval operations. October 26, 13:40 hours. Lieutenant Commander Jake Viper Morrison launched from the Nimitz's flight deck in his FA-18E Super Hornet for a routine combat air patrol. The $70 million twin-engine fighter represented the backbone of American carrier aviation. For 7 minutes, everything appeared normal. Morrison climbed to 20,000 feet and began his patrol pattern. His radar showed several Chinese aircraft near Hainan Island, but none approaching the carrier. At 13:47 hours, everything changed. Nimitz Tower, Viper 201, experiencing multiple system failures. Morrison's voice crackled over the radio. Flight controls are not responding. The transmission cut off. In the carrier's Combat Direction Center, controllers watched in horror as Morrison's radar return began descending rapidly. The Super Hornet was falling from the sky. At 13:48 hours, Morrison pulled the ejection handle. His Martin Baker seat fired him clear just 800 feet above the ocean. His parachute deployed as his $70 million fighter impacted the water in a massive explosion. The carrier's rescue helicopter plucked Morrison from the water within 3 minutes. He was shaken but uninjured, and his account would prove crucial. Aboard the Nimitz, Captain Mike Ulrich convened an emergency meeting. The loss of an FA-18 was serious, but aircraft failures happened. "What do we know?" Captain Ulrich asked. "Sir, Lieutenant Commander Morrison reports that multiple systems failed simultaneously," reported Commander Rodriguez. "Flight controls, navigation, communications, everything went dark at once, like someone flipped a switch and turned off his entire aircraft." "Electronic warfare?" suggested the intelligence officer. "That's what I'm thinking. Simultaneous failure of multiple independent systems suggests external interference, not mechanical failure." Captain Ulrich studied the tactical display. They were well within range of Chinese electronic warfare systems on Hainan Island. "Increase our electronic warfare posture," Ulrich ordered. "Ground all flight operations until we—" "Captain," interrupted the watch officer, "we have an emergency. Rescue 5 is going down." At 14:17 hours, exactly 30 minutes after the Super Hornet crash, the MH-60S Seahawk that had just rescued Morrison was returning when its crew reported identical symptoms. "Nimitz Tower, Rescue 5, we're experiencing complete electrical failure," transmitted Lieutenant Sarah Jackson. "All flight systems are—" The transmission died. The Seahawk was at just 500 feet when its systems failed. Lieutenant Jackson executed an emergency auto-rotation, a controlled crash using the spinning rotors to slow descent. The helicopter hit the water hard, but all 4 crew members survived and were recovered within 8 minutes. 2 aircraft. 2 completely different types. both experiencing identical catastrophic electronic failures within 30 minutes in almost the exact same location. This was no coincidence. In the Nimitz's secure intelligence facility, Lieutenant Commander Park analyzed data from the ship's electronic warfare system that had been recording all electromagnetic emissions during both crashes. "Captain, you need to see this immediately," Park reported. "At 13:46 hours, 1 minute before the Super Hornet crash, our systems detected a massive spike in electromagnetic energy from Hainan Island," Park explained. "The frequency and modulation are consistent with high-powered microwave weapons designed to disrupt aircraft electronics." "And the helicopter?" "Same signature, sir. At 14:16 hours, 1 minute before Rescue 5 went down, an identical electromagnetic pulse from the same location." Captain Ulrich felt his blood run cold. China had demonstrated a weapon that could disable American aircraft without firing a shot, without any overt act of war. "This is a directed energy weapon," Park continued. "A high-powered microwave system capable of inducing electrical failures in aircraft at ranges exceeding 100 nautical miles. Can we defend against it?" Park hesitated. "Not with our current systems, sir. Our electronic warfare suites aren't designed to counter directed energy weapons at these power levels." October 26, 2100 hours Eastern Time. In the Pentagon's National Military Command Center, General Marcus Thompson convened an emergency video conference. Captain Ulrich presented the evidence, the timeline, Morrison's eyewitness account, the electronic warfare data showing directed energy emissions from Hainan Island. "General, we assess with high confidence that both aircraft were brought down by Chinese directed energy weapons," Ulrich concluded. "This represents a fundamental threat to carrier aviation operations." The implications were staggering. If China could disable American aircraft at will, the entire concept of carrier-based power projection was at risk. The $13 billion carriers, the $70 million fighters, all potentially obsolete. "What are our options?" asked Admiral Hayes. "Increase standoff distance beyond the weapon's range," suggested one officer. "But that essentially cedes the South China Sea to Chinese control. Accelerate countermeasures, hardened electronics, electromagnetic shielding, alternative navigation systems," offered another. "Or we demonstrate that using these weapons will result in consequences China cannot accept," General Thompson said quietly. The incident created an unprecedented dilemma. China had demonstrated a weapon that could neutralize American air power without technically committing an act of war. No missiles fired, no shots exchanged, no overt aggression. Yet 2 American aircraft had been forced from the sky. Only exceptional piloting prevented casualties. Intelligence analysts determined the directed energy weapon was part of a broader Chinese program to develop non-kinetic weapons, achieving military objectives without triggering traditional warfare responses. The Pentagon's response was immediate. All carrier operations in the South China Sea were suspended. The Nimitz withdrew beyond the weapon's range. Longer term, the Defense Department accelerated programs to harden aircraft electronics, develop alternative flight control systems, and create offensive capabilities to neutralize Chinese directed energy installations. October 27, 2025. The Navy issued a brief statement acknowledging 2 aircraft had experienced mechanical difficulties, resulting in controlled crashes. All personnel recovered safely. Incidents under investigation. No mention of Chinese directed energy weapons or strategic implications. Publicly, the Navy maintained the crashes were unrelated mechanical failures, possibly contaminated fuel. This cover story served multiple purposes: avoided publicly accusing China of an act of war, prevented China from knowing how much the U.S. understood about their capabilities, and bought time to develop countermeasures. But within classified military circles, October 26th was recognized as a watershed moment. China had demonstrated a capability that fundamentally challenged American military dominance in the Pacific. Lieutenant Commander Morrison told investigators, "It was like someone reached into my cockpit and flipped every circuit breaker at once. 1 second, everything was normal. The next, I was flying a glider with no power. If I'd been lower, I wouldn't have had time to eject." The double aircraft incident marked a turning point in Pacific military dynamics. China had successfully demonstrated that American carrier strike groups, the foundation of U.S. power projection for 80 years, were vulnerable to new warfare that didn't require traditional weapons. The Pentagon's response included $12 billion for directed energy countermeasures and new tactical doctrines, but these solutions would take years to implement. Meanwhile, American carriers would operate with increased caution, maintaining greater distances from Chinese installations. This tactical adjustment represented a strategic victory for China, expanding their control without firing a shot. 2 aircraft down in 30 minutes, no shots fired, no missiles launched. Just invisible electromagnetic energy that turned America's most advanced fighters into falling debris. China had demonstrated a new form of warfare, and the Pentagon was terrified. That's what really happened to the USS Nimitz on October 26, 2025. 2 aircraft down in 30 minutes wasn't mechanical failure. It was China demonstrating a weapon that can disable American air power without firing a shot. If China can neutralize carrier aviation with directed energy weapons, the entire foundation of American power projection in the Pacific is at risk. This is the future of warfare: invisible, non-kinetic, and terrifying. If you found this investigation compelling, smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment with your thoughts on directed energy weapons. Share this video so more people understand what's really happening in the South China Sea. This is Warfront Intel, where we deliver the unfiltered truth about modern warfare. Stay informed, stay tactical, and we'll see you in the next one.